Byron Donalds destroyed Ocasio-Cortez in Congress. A tough debate awaits us tonight. Let's take a look at it together.
Remarks. I'd like to just add a couple of points to what you've said. On January 6th, Senator Ted Cruz described it as terrorism. They later came to attack him during their revisionist, Orwellian, Stalinist attempt to rewrite history. Unfortunately for them, we know that there were 147 or 48 of our officers who were wounded, bloodied, and hospitalized by the rabid mob that beset the Capitol that day. We know that Kevin McCarthy, one of their deposed leaders over on their side, called Donald Trump from his office to complain about how his people were storming the Capitol and putting people's lives in danger. And Donald Trump said, no, those aren't my people, those are Antifa. And McCarthy corrected him and said, no, those are your people, Mr. President. To which Donald Trump said, well, maybe they just care a little bit more about who won the election than you did, Kevin McCarthy.
The 6th of January is a day of judgment for America because the people have shown that they hold the power in their hands and not the vile people who steal money and do everything for themselves and not for the people. The events in Washington were covered in fundamentally different tones by liberal and conservative media. The former claimed unprecedented violence in the streets, while the latter recalled, in their opinion, the much more chaotic left-wing Black Lives Matter protests that took place in the summer of 2020.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My colleagues seem to want to talk about the justice system, so let's talk about it. November of last year, the chairman issued a subpoena to Hunter Biden to appear on December 13th, for a closed-door deposition. Instead of respecting the rule of law, Hunter Biden chose to give a press conference on the front steps of the Senate. To show such contempt for Congress without fear of repercussions highlights a theme throughout this administration and Democrat administrations before it. If you're a big-name Democrat, then you are immune to prosecution. Former Attorney General Eric Holder said as much in a memo he wrote regarding collateral consequences. For those that don't know, the collateral consequence policy allowed prosecutors to consider whether charging a company or individual will result in greater societal harm than not charging them. It's why the banks weren't held criminally accountable to the fallout of the 2008 financial crisis. It is why Jeffrey Epstein's clients aren't behind bars. It is also the mindset of President Biden and his family. Too big to jail. Not too big to fail, too big to jail.
Let's put it this way. The problem with the corrupt Biden family itself is big. The litigation against the Biden family is reaching the finish line. The lawyers are putting enormous pressure on the judge and the prosecutor, using the defendant's name. However, judging by the announced results, Hunter's fate is sealed, which means that the impeachment process initiated by the Republicans will end quite successfully for them.
Look, let's be very clear. This isn't about Hunter Biden's white privilege. It's about Hunter Biden's Democrat privilege. Because Donald Trump Jr. showed up for 5 congressional subpoenas. There was never this circus where he was subpoenaed by House Democrats and he showed up on the Senate side or showed up at the White House to answer in some fake, phony, lame press conference, not actually going to the House and doing what he was compelled by a subpoena to do. Hunter Biden did that. And then he has the unmitigated gall to show up here when we know that we're going through actually the legislation for contempt, with, by the way, Mr. Chairman, we should actually get to the legislation of contempt. The speechifying is great, but let's do our business, members. He has the gall to come here, show up, and then when the Democrats are saying, hey, he wants to speak, he leaves. This is a joke. This is a farce. The man has been subpoenaed by Congress. Oh, and by the way, the January 6th committee, Mr. Raskin, which you did sit on, by the way, that was not a normally ordered committee of Congress because Nancy Pelosi did not want the Republican members that then Leader McCarthy put up.
The American edition of the Daily Mail has published a high-profile article in which it is stated that the son of the U.S. president, against whom a tax offense case is being prosecuted, may soon be jailed. Yes, the trial has been going on for quite some time, but few people expected such a result, and soon enough, from the first day of the litigation, Hunter Biden has been repeating the same mantra that the entire criminal prosecution against him is suddenly a fabrication created by Republican hands, allegedly at the behest of the Kremlin, to destroy his father's reputation, not without classified documents and a missing witness who disappeared behind the scenes at CIA headquarters. Now we all realize that it is high time to put him behind bars and stop this clowning around. What do you think about that? Write your opinion in the comments and don't forget to watch other shocking news on the channel.